Right, bit of an update on the Audi project. Still got the engine all stripped down, a bit of paint job on some of the manifolds and stuff. I've just been working on the pump situation. Got a slight issue because the donor pump, which was for the cam plate, the green one, it's off a fucking bus, hence the stupid colour. It's a water damage pump, which I was hoping wouldn't be too bad, because the only bit I actually want from it is the cam plate. The rest of it I'm going to put together with other bits. But sadly, as you can see, there is some pretty major petting, but it should work enough to just get it running. And I'm going to have to just go out and buy either a new one or try and find a better second-hand pump. But that'll go in for a minute because I've got nothing else here. All the other stuff I've got that's 6 cylinders IDI, and obviously the rest of it's 4 cylinder, which is no use. So that can stay there. This is the casing I'm going to be using for the pump for a few different reasons. But it's a clean casing, the vane pump's not wore, side casing's not wore, doesn't have external pressure regulator, and it's a nice clean case. So I've just, well, it wasn't that clean actually, I've just pressure washed it off, bit of degreaser, and put it under a boiling hot tap for the last 10 minutes and blown it out of the airline, and that's how I clean my pumps. Nothing technical. So that's the casing. For people that wonder, when I'm making these pumps where I just randomly get the little bits and pieces that I post off to people from stroke use on their fuck pumps, this little collection of pumps here is a little sort of source of bits. Then there's a box full over there, some more on the shelf here, and that's probably the first quarter of a ever ongoing collection of Bosch pumps. 90% of it is all VEs. There's a couple of, there's like a Lucas there, and I think there's an CAV there, and obviously there's a huge amount of Lucas pumps linked up on this shelf, which I just scrap as far as I'm concerned, hence why they're linked up on that shelf. Right, okay, I'm just making up a plate here now to bolt down on the top of the motor. That's basically going to bolt on the top there in between the V, and I'm going to weld on some side brackets to obviously strengthen it up, and then weld some spacers on it to lift the pump off the bracket, because the actual bolt holes are recessed below the advanced piston housing. So I'm going to get that drilled out now and weld the sides on. Okay, well, after a lot of issues, this is the pump I've come up with now eventually, based on bits from, well, that pump, that pump, that pump, and that pump, oh, and that one back there. Really struggled because of we've got very little space in the engine for which we can go back before we hit the oil filter housing. So I was trying to find a short shaft, but trying to find a short 19mm input shaft has been a real nightmare. But I have done that now, so we are as short as we can get, other than the ones without the nose. But I don't like those ones because they have a habit of killing the input bearing, because it's not very long, it's only like a little tiny thrust bearing like that instead of a nice wide one, so I don't want to run one of them. I've got the original Audi pulley there now bolted on. It's basically OEM Audi outer and inner part, and what I've done is made up a flange in behind which fits the taper. It's actually made from a bit of a 306 pump. Fits the shaft taper. I've then reamed out the inside of here on the lathe, so that the nut will fit in. So you can tighten the hub to the nut and then bolt the pulley straight to the hub. So that's that side of it. I'm just working on some lower mounting brackets for it. The reason the head's green is because it's come off of bloody big Volvo bus engine. And that's just the way the engine was curve painted, but couldn't be bothered to scrape it off. But hopefully that's going to work out. Yeah, that's not gone well. Piece of shit. I think we've popped it, boys. That's with a new battery. Oh shit. Okay, just so you can see it, this is part of that bracket. Trying to keep clearance between it and the pump to the absolute minimum. I've got about, well, probably not even a millimetre. We've got very little room between the bonnet and the pump, I don't think it's going to, I think the bonnet is just going to latch, but it's going to touch it. So I'll either swap the top of the pump for a, I've got a different kind, the LDA has an actuator rather than the built-in diaphragm. I'll either do that or maybe make a hole in the bonnet, but that would be a bit tragic considering it's just a sleeper of a car. So I haven't worked on that one yet, but I can't physically make it any lower anyway. I didn't want to go any, I mean that's 8mm plate there at the moment. I didn't really want to go any less than that because there's a fair bit of stress. I'm pulling sideways on it obviously because of the pump, so I didn't want to go any thinner than that. Plus I don't think the 2mm would have done it anyway, so it's going to be like a 5mm too high problem, I think.
Houston, we have potential. As you can see, very little room to work with.
Right, so I've got the pump bolted on here now, and the bolt's on.
Just about to see what I've done there.
I'm thinking the pump isn't actually incredibly secure like that. I think it would actually be alright. I'm probably just going to put some extra braces maybe just to take the side load away from it a little bit. I'm pretty happy with how that is. I'm just going to try turning it over now just to see how the cam belt tracks to make sure I haven't got it off square, because it is quite tricky getting it. You've got to get it square that way and you've got to get it square in and out. If you get it out, then the cam belt will run one way or the other on the pulley and either fall off or excessively wear it. So we'll turn the key a minute briefly and just see how things occur.
See what happens in a minute, shall we?
I'm pretty happy with that.
Right, go on, fire up.